Everyone, my name is Eric Piepenberg. I am an editor here at the New York Times, and we are here today with the actresses Selenis Levya, who is on your left, and Dascha Polanco, who is on your right. And you may recognize them from the show Orange is the New Black. But we are here today to talk to them about a new project that they are in. It is a comedy drama, a play, called Tell Hector I Miss Him at the Atlantic Theater Company, written by a young Puerto Rican playwright named Paola Lazaro. Yeah. So welcome to you both. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Selenis, why don't we start with you? Tell us a little bit about what the show is about, and maybe explain what kind of a theatrical voice does Paola have as a writer?
Well, Tell Hector I Miss Him takes place in Puerto Rico. We transport the audience to the island of Puerto Rico, where we meet a series of people, all struggling with love, all struggling with what love means to them, how love changes them, and how change affects relationships. So it really is a love story. It's basically 12 people trying to either find love or hold on to love. And Paola's voice is raw. One of the things that I loved about her play in particular, when I did the reading of it a year ago, was that she's just so raw. She writes in a way that we speak. So it was a little challenging to memorize those lines. Yes. With the those things are harder to memorize. There's a rhythm. It's musical, so that took some time. But I love how genuine her voice is.
Dascha, let me ask you. The play is set in San Juan, and I understand there's a 16th century fort that kind of looms over what happens on stage. Tell me a little bit about the importance of this being about San Juan, about this being Puerto Rico. It's important that this is set there. Tell me about the importance of that in the play.
Well, it's important because it symbolizes colonialism in a very simple, systematic, yet you find sympathy. And I think for a long time, people cannot relate or find that connection with what's going on in the island. And I think that the way that Paola wrote the script and the story, it allows people to kind of sympathize with each character in the play and find a connection and truth in the experiences that they have had with what's been going on in the island. There's also elements in this story of the struggle of the community, but also the unity of it, and how they all are united, and how this fort might be built to keep them as outsiders, but it makes them stronger. It allows them to kind of unify and be ready for the outsiders as they're coming in. And when I mean outsiders, I don't only mean people, I mean elements of life. Whether it's the drug influence, whether it's the criminal activity, whether it's just the love and just living in the circumstances.
Yeah. And tell me a little bit about Paola herself. How is she to work with? How has she been as a collaborator on this show?
Paola has a lot of energy. Well, right? Paola is she's very smart. I'm excited that she's the Latina who's writing for us. We needed that. We needed the voice of the Latino community to be heard, and she's doing it in this play, and I can't wait to see what she develops in the future.
It's
because
exciting.
There's so much going on, right?
I'm very honored to be able to experience this first baby of hers. Just to be part of her outburst. She's very vibrant. And I think that being part of a cast where it's like majority is Latinos, and to be able to be part of this, or the beginning of a journey of where she's headed, it makes us proud, and it makes
she's
us
passionate, man. She will get up there, she'll scream, she'll cry with you. I remember the first time I read the monologue that I do in the play, and she got up and kicked a garbage can, and I was like, oh, I guess she's not happy. But that was her way of saying she loved it. So we love that.
The words, she's very vocal about how much it means to her, and the story is very close to her heart and her experience, and to be able to display this and to portray the emotions that she felt at that moment or it wrote about makes us feel, you know, supportive of her. And that's what we need now in our community, support of one another.
Well, and it seems like you've got some fans of the show out there. Amanda Nickel writes to us, great show last week, saw the preview.
Thank you.
And you have also some Orange is the New Black fans out there. Aaron McCurry. Kalela says you both give brilliant performances on Orange is the New Black. For those of you who are just joining us, we are here with Selenis Levya and Dascha Polanco, who are in a new play at the Atlantic Theater Company called Tell Hector I Miss Him. A question for both of you, whoever wants to start, is coming to the stage. People may recognize you from Orange is the New Black, but what is it like to sort of get on stage and sort of work those theater chops?
It feels good. I mean, I haven't been on stage in 5 years. The last time I did theater was at the Cherry Lane Basilica. So, and I'm a theater baby. That's my foundation. So to be back on stage is nice. It's a lot of work. I forgot how exhausting it is, how many hours you put into it. We put a lot of hours on Orange and on sets when we do movies, but there is a difference. You know, I think that there is time for rest. There's a little bit of pampering at times. You know, theater is just really hardcore foundation, non-glamorous, but it feeds the soul. And I was itching to come back, and so it's great. And then Dascha's first time on stage, and to be with her doing it, it's just really, it's been great. It's been a wonderful experience.
For me, I only took theater in school. You know, I've only done things in school with the school audience. Nothing off Broadway or Broadway. So for me, it's the first experience, and I tell her every night, I'm like, you know what, I am glad I'm experiencing with you, because I feel like knowing someone allows you to feel that support when you feel like insecure in a way of like, I don't know what's going on. Am I tired? Am I okay to be tired? Should I not be tired? But once I'm on stage, there's this sense of like energy and groundness that I feel, and every night I discover something new, and I can't wait for the next day, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try something different, and just getting that energy of the audience right there. It's instant gratification.
It's so great. It's magical.
Let me ask a question from one of our viewers. Zohar Orbach asks, how would you describe the progress for Latin American women in film, TV, theater since West Side Story, for example? How would you describe where
it's very scarce.
Wow. Well, you know, I think that there's room for growth. I think that we have come a long way in many aspects, but there's still room for growth. You know, I still find it very interesting that we're still talking about, you know, diversity and Latinos in film and in television. As long as we're still talking about that, means that there is a lack. There's something missing, you know. I thought that Orange is the New Black was going to be like this, opening the door to like us and to people who look like us. Genji Cohen seems to be one of few people that still believes in telling stories that are really diverse, you know, and Chandra Rhimes. Like, I think there's still room for improvement. We're still missing at the Golden Globes. We're still missing at the Emmys. We're still missing at the Oscars. And why are we missing? Because nothing is being done, produced with our voices, our faces. So this is why being in a play that is being that was written by a Latina, directed by a Latino, and has 11 Latino performers is a big deal. So we still have room. There's still room.
And also the fact that, you know, I always say, yes, we don't see the actors, but we're just getting that one movie or that one play, that one show written by a non-Latino. And for me, it's very important that it starts here in the writers, to have a playwright that's a voice from a Latina. That's not, you know, an American writing a story about Puerto Rico. It's a Latina writing a story about Puerto Rico. That's where the link is missing. It has to start in the writing rooms. It has to start in directing, the producing. It has to start there so that the opportunities are created more.
Yeah. And not just Latinos playing Latinos. I mean, I think that there's room for us to be the superheroes, you know, to be the number one on the show, to be the lawyer, to be the president. I think that there's room for that in casting and studios. So there's still a lot of room. Yeah.
Well, we have a comment from Edwin Escalante who says, empowering to see the diversity on screen. Cheers to you both.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. Also, a question from Danielle Alston-Redder who says, do you feel that it's easier working together on stage now that you have experience working together on series?
You know what?
That's a very good question.
I have something to say about that. We don't have a scene together.
No.
But we do hear each other in the dressing room. And I feel like if we would have had a scene together, we would have experienced something totally different. Because then the energy's there. But we are supportive of one another. And we do speak about the differences that we experience in film versus theater. That's very true.
Yeah. And there is a support. I'm so grateful that we're doing this together because, you know, I think that people come to the theater and go, well, two actresses who are doing TV and film, let's see what they got. So there is a little bit of almost like having to prove ourselves, and the fact that we have each other to support each other and to be honest with each other. I've seen Dascha's character grow in such a beautiful way. It's just, it's great to see that. I wish we had a scene together.
Yeah, that would have been epic.
That would have been really epic. But we're doing a lot in Orange Is the New Black, just FYI.
Well, let's move to that topic. A little bit of a spoiler alert for those who maybe aren't caught up, but at the end of the most recent season, Dascha, your character Daya, had a gun trained on one of the guards, and we're not sure what's going to happen. There is a next season of Orange Is the New Black, correct? Do you want to break any news here today at the New York Times about what we can expect in the new season, or is that hush-hush?
Yeah, we could say one thing.
No.
We could say a couple of things. We can't say that it
takes place in 3 days.
3 days. And
season 5 is 3 days.
Yes. Its resilience is, yes. So it's a 3-day span of what happens in Litchfield. It's a shift of power. It's no longer guards guarding prisoners. It's more of
everyone's guarding themselves. Yeah. There's a lot happening.
Infiltration.
It's a scary season.
Survival of the fittest.
It's a scary season.
I'm like,
right.
Can I say that? No.
It's a scary season.
Scary season.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Do you know when that's coming out, or we're not sure yet?
We're not too sure of the exact date, but definitely this summer of 2017.
We have an interesting question, just sort of a side question here. Jackie Cuccinello wants to know, says, my son took theater for 4 years in high school, and he loves it. He's Latino. How do you think he should further his theater education?
Be educated. Continue to educate yourself. You know, read as many plays as possible. Continue to take classes. You know, expand your horizons. Be an educated actor. I think an educated actor is always a good actor. Right?
Yeah.
And don't give up.
Yeah, and you know what? Take classes, script writing, film, like in all the branches of this entertainment field. Because I find that sometimes when we're little, we're just given the option of acting and not of anything else. And I find so much talent. I mean, there's so many programs available for script writing,
right?
You know, tech.
You may find that you love to be, you want to be behind the camera instead of in front of it. So,
and that needs to be informed. That needs to be spread. That information, the opportunity and the availability of other branches in this field must be shared with, you know,
and explored. Yeah, go for it all. Yeah. Gosh.
Another interesting question from a reader, Erica. Ratza asks, have you ever been treated differently for being Latinas? I assume she means as actresses, but did you want to speak at all to?
Oh, absolutely. As an actor and as a human being, you know, there's constant assumptions being made. You know, when I first started acting, they didn't know where to put me, so I was just exotic, and you know, they'd be like, oh, well, you're going to be the light-skinned black girl, because they didn't know Latinos, I guess 20 years ago, we weren't really popular. But but there's a misconception of, you know, our bodies also are a big thing, right? A big topic of conversation. Our features.
We have African, we have Taino, we have Indian. Like we're just like a combination, a blend, a fusion of so many different roots that people do not know where to place us, how to react to us. It's like, are we aliens? Like they just don't know. What do we eat? It's very interesting to see. The assumptions that are created because of how we look, but also in the acting world, you know, for me, my experience, I just started this. This is my 6th year doing it professionally and actually claiming that I am an actress. And, you know, auditions have been, I've had the opportunity to have auditions, but the results are the same. Either I'm too urban or, you know, I can't play a Harvard, you know, student or...
Because God forbid you sound, you know...
Like a person.
Like a person. You know, yeah. I think it's very limiting. Sometimes it's very limiting. People see you and make assumptions, and that's a scary. And I think that we're entering a really scary stage where a lot of that is being almost. I don't know what's the word. People are embracing it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're embracing it. So we have to be very careful with that and be open to all.
A comment from Chelsea Nicole, who says representation matters. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One more question from Daphne Victoria Johnson, who asks, do you have advice for actors who have a mixed heritage or mixed background who want to get in the business or want to work in the business? Any advice?
Just do it. Yeah. Go for it. Take a risk. Be prepared that people have to understand that it's very difficult. You go home sometimes after an audition, after getting that no and feeling like I'm just not good enough for it, and then you have to shake it up. I mean, we have this conversation all the time where Selenis and I, we feel a certain way because of how we look and because we don't have that security or the same opportunities as white actors, as black actors.
We're still auditioning.
Yeah.
We have to audition for that one role, you know, one line in a movie. That's still the case, even on being on a hit show, an international, worldwide hit show. We still have to go out there and fight for what we want. So I always say to people, if this is what you really want, then you have to go for it. We were told many, many times that this was not something that we could actually do and make a living. I'm glad we didn't listen. Yeah. So don't listen to them.
You don't mind one more question, a really good one, then I think we can wrap it up. Stephen McGee asks, how do you feel about the comedic element of Orange is the New Black? Do you have concerns it might dilute the realities of incarceration?
Absolutely not. There's comedy in life. You know, you could be at a funeral and something will make you laugh, not because you're not being sensitive, right? But life is not just one note, you know. I think that it's refreshing that Genji and the writers are able to give you space to breathe. We get hit with so much, right?
Yeah. And first and foremost, Orange has brought up a lot of subjects to be spoken about that were not in a long time, that people felt not comfortable speaking about. You know, women in prison, oh, God forbid, what's going on? Oh,
sexuality.
All these things, because of a show like Orange, it has allowed us to be involved in it, to even educate ourselves in these issues that we were never taught about or never exposed to. So for the most part, it's caused a form of like, it breached this subject. It allowed platforms for individuals to cooperate with prison reform systems.
Conversations are being had that haven't ever been, you know. So I don't think so at all. And I would imagine that people that are behind bars, you know,
we always get
they do have there's moments of life and laughter and pain and it's the same thing, you know. So I think it's really refreshing that the show is able to tap into both worlds like that.
Why don't we finish today with telling us a little bit about where people can see Tell Hector I Miss Him. Tell us when it starts performances, where it is, and how they can go about getting tickets. And maybe just, you know, for those who are joining us maybe a little bit later, tell us again, what is it about and what people can expect.
Tell Hector I Miss Him at the Atlantic Theater, Stage 2. We are in previews right now, currently in previews. We open on Monday, January 23rd, and go through February 19th.
It's on What's the address? We put it in our Uber all the time.
330 West 16th Street. Log on to Atlantic Theater and purchase your tickets and come on and be transported to the island of Puerto Rico, San Juan, where you will meet 12 unforgettable characters struggling for love.
Thank you once again to Selenis Levya and Dascha Polanco. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.